Kia ora koutou katoa. Summer has arrived, so it means that there's lots of activity happening here on the farm at the moment. The seasons have certainly changed again. There have been some real challenges and learnings, but also successes this season, and a lot's happened since my last little video, so I'll give a wee bit of an update. I recently had probably one of the most difficult experiences yet on this journey here on the farm. One of our cattle were home killed. It was pretty emotionally difficult raising him and really forming a bond with him. The home kill guy was really professional, and you could tell that despite him doing it so many times, he definitely took it seriously and he wasn't blasé about killing at all. It was actually a really nice death that was really peaceful and stress-free. So I'm glad I could give that to him at least. I wish I could give the same death to our other cattle beast, but it's just not feasible with the cost of the butchering process. And just from the one we've done, we're getting nearly 200 kilograms of meat, and it's just too much for our freezers and our whānau's freezers to fill. I did ask a number of butchers if they wanted to buy him to sell it on themselves, but unfortunately all of them said that they do source their own meat and have their own supplies. So really sadly our other boy's fate will be the freezing works, which I'm still processing and not sure how it sits with me just yet. He's currently over at our neighbour's property, just so he's not by himself, because they've got cattle over there. It's not good for herd and animals to not have companionship. I guess the silver lining to this is, yeah, there's learnings about what I eat and what we eat, and it's meant that in many months we have not purchased any meat at all, and that's been because we've been able to have ample here on the farm, and it's good to know where all our meat has come from, the lives they've lived, but also importantly the deaths they've had too. So most of the sheep, our Wiltshires, are looking really well. They've definitely shed most of their winter coats in the summer heat. I did say I'd be pretty upfront about the challenges of a little block of land, and certainly we've got two of our late lambs that aren't looking super good at the moment. They're just a bit more weak and skinny and not quite sure what's going on with them yet. So I'm watching them and making sure they're drinking off mum and trying to supplement them with a bit of milk, but we'll have to keep an eye on them and see how they do. They genetically do come from the line as the last ram that we had here, who was our first ram on the farm. And he genetically was just a bit sickly and a bit weak, and eventually he did die and he never got to a good weight. So it does just go to show how important the genetics are in the animals, particularly your breeding male, as they're going to have half their genes throughout your entire flock. The chickens are ticking away nicely. They're giving us a pretty steady, good supply of eggs at the moment. I have allowed some hens to go broody in the hope of hatching new chicks, but that's been pretty unsuccessful. I don't know, I think it's in part that eggs have been accidentally broken, or they've been spooked off their nests. I'm not quite sure. The fertility rate seems okay as they're sort of developing in the egg, but our rooster is also getting on in his years a bit more for a rooster, and he's certainly not as randy as he was back in his prime. So I do think this year we will add another rooster to the flock just to help with fertility and genetic diversity. The ducks are a very new experience for me. Their job on the farm is pest control, especially slugs in the cooler seasons, which really decimate my winter crops. I spend a lot of time and money building a duck house for them, which they never use. And while they aren't as destructive as chickens, they have managed to strip this grapefruit tree absolutely bare of its leaves. But on the whole, they're pretty funny, pretty cute, and hopefully they do their job with pests pretty well. The garden is thriving. I think it's one of the best years I've had yet. It's probably down to a number of factors like the wet weather we had in December and these long sunlight hours, but I think all the hard work I've put into the soil is finally paying off now. Using no-dig principles and permaculture as a framework and adding diversity and organic matter is lending to some really healthy soil. I think the focus on companion planting is really helping. I have heaps of beneficial flowers which are attracting all kinds of insects for pollination, pest control, and other processes I probably don't understand. It looks like a bit of a messy jungle in here, but it's real evidence that a diverse, healthy ecosystem is so important for food resilience. I'm yet to have a ripe tomato, but it looks like we're not too far off tomato gluttony. We've been getting so many zucchini, this Cocozelle heirloom variety, I think that's how I say it, but it does really well in this climate and this whenua. After failing with cucumbers and potatoes last year, I'm pleased to say we've had many delicious new potatoes, some of which we enjoyed on Christmas Day. And I've managed a total of 5 cucumbers, with more to come, which is a record for me. The 3 or 4 sisters with the sunflowers companion planting method seems to be working really well. Pumpkins and corn are forming, and we've just started to get a harvest of beans. I've said it before and I'll say it again, but the taste, satisfaction and nutritional value of homegrown vegetables completely shits on the stuff that you buy at the supermarket. It might sound crazy in the height of summer, but I've started winter seedlings now in preparation for the winter months. They'll need the warmth and longer sunlight hours to establish themselves before winter hits. I haven't yet had much of a winter crop, so I'm really hoping to give it a good crack this year. And with my small army of ducks for slug control, I'm hoping I'll get a wee bit. So in these summer months, I'm most occupied with mulching to conserve moisture and keep the ground cool, harvesting of course, adding my own homemade fertilizers when needed, and doing things like pruning tomato laterals to keep airflow, and that will keep me pretty busy for these summer months. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. I hope you are enjoying your summers, spending some time outdoors with these longer hours, resting and connecting with whānau. Ka kite, anō.